Think a 4x8 raised bed is too big for a small backyard? It might be the one that earns its keep the fastest. Welcome to RootInsect.com.
And I love that because everybody wants the cute little bed first. The tidy square, the I'm just growing a few herbs bed. Then July hits and suddenly there are tomatoes leaning into the walkway like they own the mortgage.
Today we're talking about a real backyard test. A 4x4 raised bed, a 4x8, and an L-shaped bed, all grown in the same small yard for 2 seasons. Zone 6B, clay soil underneath, privacy fence on 2 sides, and 1 maple tree acting like a water thief.
That maple deserves a villain name. But those details matter. This wasn't a perfect lab test because gardens never are. The yard had about 22 by 28 feet of usable space after the grill, compost bins, hose reel, and those paths everyone forgets until they're carrying a full basket of cucumbers.
So Fiona, if somebody has room for just 1 raised bed in a small backyard, what would you pick?
For food production, I'd pick the 4x8. It's not dainty. It can bully a yard if you place it badly. But 32 square feet gives you room for tomatoes, peppers, trellised cucumbers, pole beans, greens, carrots, garlic, onions, basil. Actual dinner ingredients, not just garnish.
I'm going to push back a little because I still think the 4x4 is the bed people are happiest with at first.
I agree with that part. A 4x4 is the beginner's friend. 16 square feet sounds tiny, but planted tightly, it can keep a kitchen stocked with lettuce, parsley, basil, scallions, radishes, carrots, bush beans, and a couple compact peppers across the season.
And you can reach everything. That's the charm. No stepping into the bed, no awkward tomato yoga, no muddy knee in the carrots.
Plus, it doesn't cost as much to fill. Soil volume sneaks up on people. A 4x8 needs a lot more mix, and if you're buying bagged, raised bed soil, compost, and bark, that bill gets real fast.
The article mentioned avoiding cheap contractor topsoil because after 2 rains, it turned into brick mortar. I have lived that tragedy.
Same. I once filled a bed with bargain garden soil, and it grew exactly 3 sad radishes and a deep sense of regret. A better mix is screened compost, a peat-free raised bed mix when you can find it, a little coarse composted bark, and finished homemade compost if you've got it.
Now, the L-shaped bed. On paper, I always like it. It fits a fence corner, looks custom, and makes the yard feel designed.
It does look clever, but planting it can get annoying. The inside corner creates awkward reach zones, and the long arms can end up with uneven sun and water. In this test, it worked for herbs, flowers, strawberries, greens, and experimental crops, but it wasn't the easiest bed to manage.
So when would you build one again?
Only if I had a very specific fence line corner where a rectangle wasted space, and I already knew what each section was for. For example, perennial herbs on one arm, strawberries along the edge, flowers for pollinators in the corner. I wouldn't fill an L shape and then figure it out later.
That's fair. Small backyards also have sneaky shade. A bed can look sunny in April, then by late July, the fence, garage, and tomato trellis gang up on it.
Yes, spring lies. Before building, watch the yard later in the season if you can, and leave bigger paths than you think. The test had 24 to 30-inch paths, and anything under 28 inches was regretted. A wheelbarrow needs room. So does a gardener carrying zucchini while being attacked by mosquitoes.
Speaking of zucchini, the test included peas, tomatoes, peppers, fall greens, overwintered garlic, and 1 miserable aphid-heavy zucchini season. That's a pretty honest trial.
It is, and the lesson is simple. If you want maximum food and have the space, go 4x8. If you want easy, affordable, and low stress, go 4x4. If you want an L shape, make sure it solves a real layout problem, not just a Pinterest craving.
I'd also say orient the 4x8 so you can access both long sides. Don't shove it against a fence unless you enjoy harvesting from a distance with salad tongs.
And keep tall crops like tomatoes and trellised cucumbers where they won't shade the rest of the bed. In a small yard, one trellis in the wrong spot can turn your basil into a houseplant.
Final verdict then. 4x8 for harvest, 4x4 for sanity, L shape for special situations.
That's the cleanest way to put it. The best raised bed isn't just the one that fits the tape measure. It's the one you can reach, water, walk around, fill properly, and still enjoy by August. Thank you for listening to this edition of RudeInsect.com, Conversations with Grant and Fiona.